Hello, Elder Smith here. Today I'd like to continue where we left off in Genesis, and today we'll be starting in the 31st chapter. And he heard the words of Laban's sons, saying, Jacob hath taken away all that was our father's, and of that which was our father's hath he gotten all this glory. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before. And the Lord said unto Jacob, Return unto the land of thy fathers, and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock, and he said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that it is not toward me as before, but the God of my father hath been with me. And ye know that with all my power I have served your father, and your father hath deceived me, and changed my wages 10 times, but God suffered him not to hurt me. You see, this shows that even in times where Laban, his father-in-law, has kind of cheated Jacob multiple times by changing his wages, by not agreeing to the original deals, even then Jacob recognized that God had intervened just enough to where Laban wouldn't do any physical harm to Jacob. Sometimes when we get cheated in life, we can have a lot worse done to us, but then God intervenes and he makes it so that we don't have worse dealt to us. Jacob recognized this. He said, despite these changes, God was with me, and because of that he suffered Laban not to do any harm to him. If he said thus, the speckled shall be thy wages, then all the cattle bear speckled. And if he said thus, the ring-straked shall be thy hire, then bear all the cattle ring-straked. Thus God hath taken away the cattle of your father and given them to me. And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived, and I lifted up mine eyes, and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ring-straked, and speckled, and gristled. And the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob, I said, Here am I. And he said, Lift up now thine eyes, and see all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-straked, speckled, and gristled, and I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointest the pillar, and where thou vowedest a vow unto me. Arise, get thee out from this land, and return unto the land of thy kindred. And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Are we not counted of him strangers? For he hath sold us, and hath quite devoured also our money. For all the riches which God hath taken from our father, that is ours, and our children's, now then, whatsoever God hath said unto thee, do. And Jacob rose up and set his sons and his wife upon the camels, and he carried away all his cattle and all his goods, which he had gotten, and the cattle of his getting, which he had gotten in Padanaram, for to go to Isaac his father and in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. Now, for some of you that may not know this, I know a lot that watch this video will. When it's speaking of images, it's talking about the gods that they worship. For a lot of people that worshiped other gods, they had statues, also called images, of those gods, which they would bow down to. So she took all these that belonged to her father, stole them, and carried them away in secret so that Laban wouldn't know about it. And Jacob stole away unawares to Laban, the Syrian, and that which he told him not that he fled. So he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river, and he set his face toward the Mount Gilead. And it was told Laban on the third day that Jacob was fled, and he took his brethren with him and pursued after him 7 days' journey, and they overtook him in the Mount Gilead. And God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night and said unto him, Take heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. Then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mount of Laban with his brethren, and pitched it in the Mount of Gilead. And Laban to Jacob, and Laban said to Jacob, What hast thou done, that thou hast stolen away unawares to me, and carried away my daughters as captives, taken with the sword? Wherefore didst thou flee away secretly, and steal away from me, and didst not tell me, that I might have sent thee away with mirth, and with songs, with tabret, and with harp? And hast not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters? Thou hast now done foolishly in so doing. It is in the power of my hand to do you hurt, but the God of your father spake unto me yesternight, saying, Take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. And now, though thou wouldest needs be gone, because thou sore longest after my father's house, yet wherefore hast thou stolen my gods? And Jacob answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid, for I said, Peradventure thou wouldest take by force thy daughters from me. With whomsoever thou findest thy gods, let him not live. Before our brethren discern thou what is thine with me, and take it to thee, for Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. And Laban went into Jacob's tent, and into Leah's tent, and into the two maidservants' tents, and he found them not. And then went out of Leah's tent, and entered into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the images, and put them in the camel's furniture, and sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, and found them not. And she said to her father, Let it not displease my lord, that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me. And she searched, and he searched, but found not the images. And Jacob was wroth, and chode with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, What is my trespass? What is my sin? What thou hast so hotly pursued after me? Whereas thou hast searched all my stuff, What hast thou found of all thy household stuff? Set it here before my brethren, and thy brethren, and that they may judge betwixt us both. This 20 years have I been with thee. Thy ewes and thy she-goats have not cast their young, and the rams of thy flock have I not eaten. That which was torn of beast I brought unto thee. I bear the loss of it. Of my hand didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. Thus I was. In the day the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from mine eyes. Thus I have been 20 years in thy house. I served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy cattle, and thou hast changed my wages 10 times, except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me. Surely thou hadst sent me away now empty. God hath seen my affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked thee yesternight. And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, These daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these cattle are my cattle, and all that thou seest is mine. And what can I do this day unto thee, my daughters, or unto my children, which they have borne? Therefore, come thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and thee. And Jacob took a stone and set it up for a pillar. And Jacob said unto his brethren, Gather stones. That they took stones and made a heap, and they did eat there upon the heap. And Laban called it Jegar-Sahadutha, but Jacob called it Gilead. And Laban said, This heap is a witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name of it called Gilead. And Mizpah, for he said, the Lord watch between me and thee, when we are absent from one another. If thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take other wives beside my daughters, no man is with us. See, God is witness betwixt me and thee. And Laban said to Jacob, Behold this heap, and behold this pillar, which I have cast betwixt me and thee. This heap be witness, and this pillar be witness, that I will not pass over this heap to thee, and thou shalt not pass over this heap or this pillar unto me for harm. The God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge betwixt us. And Jacob sware by the fear of his father Isaac, and Jacob offered sacrifice upon the mount, and called his brethren to eat bread, and they did eat. And they did eat bread, and tarried all night in the mount. And early in the morning Laban rose up, and kissed his sons and his daughters, and blessed them. And Laban departed, and returned unto his father. So this right here proves that God does watch over his children, even in the times where they are cheated, where original deals are not honored. For God still blesses them in ways that they don't, even if it doesn't seem like it at the time. Like the spotted and the speckled rams and the sheep, those were the ones that Laban agreed to let Jacob have. Now, under normal circumstances, it was a toss-up. Not a lot of sheep and rams at the time were supposed to come out that way, but yet God intervened and he made it so that the majority, that when they were bred and born into the flock, more than half of them were spotted and speckled. So he was blessed with many of these things. God intervened even during the times when Laban changed the wages, and God restricted Laban from afflicting any hurt, nor was he even able to rob Jacob of anything that was already his. And together they departed in peace, starting with the fact that God intervened and spoke to Laban in the dream. So if you ever experience that someone has cheated you out of something, don't interpret that as God not being with you. For God may still be with you and helping you, but in a way that you're not seeing. You got to be able to recognize the situation. One, it could be worse. And two, is there still something else that may seem unrelated or partially connected that you're still gaining from it in the end? And if so, God is with you, just as he was with Jacob. Anyways, I hope all of you got a blessing from this video. Remember, to study, to show thyself approved, rightfully dividing the word, put on the whole armor of God, and fight the good fight.